So, I just got done watching the new Super Mario Brothers movie, and yeah, it was pretty good. As I expected, critics didn't really care about it because they've never played a video game before, but anyone that's played Mario or really consumed any kind of Mario-adjacent content in the last 5 minutes will enjoy it. It knows what its audience wants, it gets in and out, and does not waste your time. Though that might actually be its own problem, but I'll touch on that later. If you just want my general opinion on the movie as a whole, I thought it was a fun movie, and honestly, I really wouldn't mind if they made like 4 or 5 more of these. It had great fun action scenes, lots of cute callbacks and references to past media, which is pretty refreshing to see, considering the fact that most of the Mario games themselves seem so adamant about not referencing past stories or games in general. If anything, I think it was actually a little too heavy on the references. Obviously, I'm going to be going into spoiler territory, so if you haven't watched the movie or really care enough about the plot and can't just guess every plot point that's gonna happen, then just stop watching the video. Oh yeah, and this is going to be one of those videos where any footage of the movie is just trailer footage that you've already seen a million times already, so don't expect anything that'll get me a copyright strike. One thing I'll say off the bat is that this is a very pretty film. The animation is fantastic, and I really enjoy how everyone looks like a 3D realization of their designs from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. As someone who grew up watching it through rips on YouTube and DVDs, it makes me so happy that it got as much love as it did. Everyone knew the plumber's rap was going to be in the movie thanks to a Twitter ad, but still makes my inner heart very happy. I really think that if Captain Lou or Danny Wells were still alive, they'd make cameos somewhere. Maybe as Mario's dad or something. As for cameos, if you're wondering if Charles Martinet would be stuck in a Goomba Captain 1 or Cool Toad voice role in the credits, you'll be very happy to hear that his voice is literally in the first 10 minutes of the movie. Having him show up as like an old man dressed as Mario, playing a Jumpman arcade machine, and his name was like Giuseppe or something in the credits, that was pretty cute. And obviously hearing him voice Mario and Luigi's father was a treat. Like, I can't help but imagine a world where Charles himself just was the voices of Mario and Luigi for like the whole movie, but I don't know, maybe in another life. It was kind of really a gamble because like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, when they do that commercial, they're talking in like Charlie Day and Chris Pratt, they're talking in like actual Mario and Luigi voices, and they sounded really good. So it was like, you know, you could have just done that the whole movie, and I probably would have been fine with it. Really testing the waters there.
It's me, Mario! And Luigi! Are you tired of paying too much for plumbing? Mamma mia! That's why the Super Mario Brothers are here. To save Brooklyn. And the Queens. And your wallet.
Thank you, Super Mario Bros. It seems like the only thing you haven't drained is my bank account.
Forget the expensive plumbing companies when you're just a face. With the Super Mario Brothers, you're fabulous.
But on the topic of Mario himself, I have this bizarre theory that the marketing team just really had it out for Chris Pratt, because I think he actually did a pretty good job. Really captures the spirit of Mario as a character. Charlie Day was really good as Luigi, even if he was barely in the movie for 30 seconds. Anya Taylor-Joy was great as Peach, to the point where she sounded so natural in the role. It might be a little weird to listen to like normal video game Peach. I don't know, maybe it's because she was like saying more sentences, so, you know, her voice sounded normal. I'm happy to report that we got not 1, but at least 3 Seth Rogen laughs out of his performance as Donkey Kong. You know the one. He did a fine enough job, but I'm not even joking when I say that the worst part of this entire movie is that Grant Kirkhope wasn't credited at the end for the DK rap. It just says, from Donkey Kong 64 in the ending credit crawl. I thought that was a little scummy. Like, there's a scene where, like, they first show up in, like, the Donkey Kong arena or whatever, and he comes out, and it plays, like, the first... It doesn't even play any verse of the actual rap. It's a loop of a DK, Donkey Kong, for, like, 2 minutes. It doesn't play the actual lyrics, but that's still... You know, that Grant Kirkhope, you know, he still wrote that. It's his vocals, but, whatever. Maybe in a special edition, they'll actually give him the credit he deserves. One of the best performances was obviously Jack Black, who was fantastic in this role and was totally immersed. His piano ballad for Princess Peach had literally everyone in the theater I was in, like, just laughing their asses off. And it's very clear that his roots in Tenacious D really never left. I could totally see him voicing him in future projects. Even if, like, if you were paying attention, some of his roars towards the end of the movie were very obviously just, like, Bowser video game clips from Kenny James. But, you know, you won't ever hear that unless, you know, you've played a video game before. For the story, I said this earlier, but I think a major complaint I have is that it's actually too fast. Going in, I was a little afraid that the entire story was laid out in the trailers, and in a way, it kind of was. It's like the scene of him destroying the Penguin Castle that was in the initial trailer. It's the start of the movie. Then it cuts to the Mario commercial. Then 10 minutes later, we're in the Mushroom Kingdom with Toad finding Mario, and then it's immediately the scene where they're like in Toad Town and he's jumping around. Like, it's like, oh, this is a trailer scene. Oh, this is a trailer scene. It's like beat by beat by beat. This is a trailer scene. But I think it's fine. I do think that the first 15 minutes of Mario and Luigi in Brooklyn were nice, and it was very, very cathartic to see them in this way again. I was kind of skeptical that they like completely revamped their origin story and made them like residents of New Donk City or something, because like Mayor Pauline was there, and I thought that would be a big part of that. But no, she has like maybe 2 lines of dialogue, and that's it. Mario, his family, very, very Staten Island Italian American, like very, very Italian American. Really good. I actually really liked it. They got the spaghetti, they got the meat, they got the big fancy dinner table. They had an uncle that looked like Luigi's side of the family, so it was like, oh, that's cool. That's why Luigi's head shape is that way. I don't know. It was just nice to see, because you never see Mario's like dad or his mom. You never see their family. They just kind of like assumed. They're just like assumed to exist. But anyway. But aside from that, a lot of this, but back to the movie itself, a lot of it was montages, weirdly enough. So if that sounds off-putting to you, I'm very sorry. It just felt like there was like no room to breathe at all. Because it would go from like them talking to a montage, and then they would go talking, and then it's another montage. Like, God, I get it. Just like give me a second to catch my breath and like actually take in the world, please. They montage their way to Donkey Kong Island, which is just called like Jungle Kingdom, which is like stupid. It's not something fun like Congo Bongo Island from the cartoon. Then they montage their way through the city with like Take On Me playing instead of like this actual Donkey Kong Country music that they remixed, which sounded really good. But anyway, they montage their way through the city, and then they meet with Cranky, and then it jumps to like Mario entering the arena to fight Donkey Kong. There's almost no in-between scenes. Characters will show up, do a thing, and then they go to the next thing, like really quickly. They do not waste your time. I'm not really saying it's a bad thing, but the pacing is like very, very fast. It doesn't waste the audience's time, but it also doesn't want to give them the chance to like take in what they're watching. Very weird. Also, the fact that the soundtrack would go from like the most beautiful rendition of the actual Mario soundtrack to licensed music felt like tonal whiplash. I swear to God, I conspiracize that they were contractually obligated to use a certain amount of licensed music. It's just kind of funny to me. Like, when it happened at the beginning, I audibly said to myself, oh, they're just getting the licensed music out of the way. But then it, like, kept appearing, only during the montages, sure, but still, I don't know, it felt really out of place. It also felt like they really didn't want to compose any Donkey Kong music, because that entire sequence of them being driven to Cranky's palace through the Kong City was just a fast-paced car ride montage with, like I said, Take On Me was playing in the background. It was a really fun sequence, but it's one of those moments where it was like, wow, I would have really loved to stop for 1 second and see how this island works, maybe take in the scenery. Wow, wouldn't it have been great to hear something like Mangrove Cove from Tropical Freeze during this segment? They wrote music for it too. Like, there's a song in the soundtrack that's specifically supposed to play during that moment, but it just doesn't. It's just not in the movie for some reason. Like, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. Power-ups I thought were used in a nice way. I liked seeing Tiny Mario come back from the new Super Mario Bros. DS game. That was a cute joke. No Fire Mario, though, but we did get Cat Mario, Raccoon Mario, and I guess Super Mario is a form, since, you eat the super mushroom anyway. Seeing Fire Donkey Kong was something I never thought I wanted, but it was very great to see him get in on the action. And I really dug the relationship they had in this movie. Even if their literal one character moment together was spent bonding over their like disapproving dads, it lasted literally like 5 seconds. It's like 2 lines of dialogue, and then the scene is over. There's like no character moments in this movie at all. Princess Peach using like fire flowers and ice flowers, that was fun. And Bowser being this unstoppable, like, badass, powerful force, while also being just a completely pathetic, lovesick loser. I thought that was a great dynamic. It really brought me back to his RPG personality of having this superiority complex while also wanting to be loved by everyone. Oh, and I guess Luigi was also in this movie. He didn't really have anything to do at all other than like be scared and wait for Mario to save him, which, it's fine. A little disappointing, but you know what? He gets his moment at the very beginning and at the very end, so ultimately it's okay. This was definitely a Mario movie, so maybe in the sequel he'll get to actually do something. But in regards to like the ending final battle, I thought it was very cool. As for all the references and callbacks, I think they were cute and they were nice. Like the Cape Feather being in their shitty commercial, or the Jumpman arcade game, or the Charles Martinet and the Charles Martinet stand-in Mario guy that I mentioned earlier. But at the same time, it was a little much. Like, ooh, they eat at Punch-Out Pizza with photos of the Punch-Out characters on the wall. Luigi's ringtone is the GameCube startup theme. Mario plays Kid Icarus in his room. The entire sequence of Toad guiding Mario through Toad Town. Oh, they build carts for Mario Kart 8 and it makes all the same music and the sound effects. Like, okay, guys, I get it. This is fun, but this is like too much. We're reaching Super Show levels of sound effects and just noises here. It's like an unironic amount of soy jacking will occur with the movie and like everything on display. Like, there's so much where it's just like, whoa, it's the thing. They did the thing. You can hear the thing. It's like, it's almost too much. It's almost too much. But like, it's a Mario movie. They know what you want. They know what you want to see. They give you what you want. I guess another reference is Wrecking Crew, because Foreman Spike from that game is here, and his entire character is him saying, "I'm from Wrecking Crew. You're a screw-up, Mario." Like, that's his entire character. Like, I guess that was fine, but he doesn't really have anything to do in this movie. He's literally in there at the very beginning and the very end. But I guess it was also to build up the overarching theme of Mario fighting people twice his size, which I guess is actually kind of a cute theme. But the final battle with the ending, it was also very, very nice. I knew some kind of like Power Star usage was bound to happen. Definitely a Chekhov's gun-esque plot device where you know it's going to be used in some kind of epic final battle. And yeah, it was. I thought it was pretty heartwarming when Luigi blocked Bowser's fire with a manhole after Mario got the ever-loving, like, shit beaten out of him by Bowser. And then they team up together, they go super, they kick Bowser's ass. It was cool. I liked it. I liked it. It was genuinely, it was kind of hype. I liked it. Seeing all the characters from the first 15 minutes, cheer them on, you know, it was pretty sweet. I really thought a main plotline of the movie would be that the ending is Luigi. He's like, oh, I want to go back to Brooklyn. This sucks. The Mushroom Kingdom is so bad. Because he only got to experience the bad parts. And Mario would be like, no, it's actually pretty good. It's so beautiful here. Because he got to go on like the adventure and sees the beauty in the world. But no, that plot does not exist. The movie just kind of ends with them living in the Mushroom Kingdom. Like, yeah, that's fine, but it's kind of a fake out because they're in their house. The ending scene is like they're in their house, they're waking up, and it's like, oh, they're back in Brooklyn. But then they open their door and you see Toads with construction equipment, so you think, oh, Toads are helping rebuild Brooklyn. But no, they're just in Toad Town. They just live in Toad Town now. It's fine. But it's like, I don't know. I really think that there were some last minute rewrites going on. There's never really a moment where the characters from the real world question the Mushroom World, but maybe that's for the best. I don't know if I could really take a scene where the characters are like, wow, a giant talking monkey, they don't have those on Staten Island. I don't know if I could take that kind of scene, so maybe we were blessed. I do think it's weird how there are like some plot elements that are just never explained. I really do think that there were some last minute rewrites and some last minute edits or some cuts in the movie. I think as fast as the movie is, it would have benefited from like an extra 30 minutes because the movie's like barely 90 minutes long. I think an hour and a half would have been fine. I don't know where you'd put those extra 30 minutes. Maybe you'd get rid of the scene at the beginning where they're fighting the dog in the bathroom. I didn't think that was funny, maybe because I'm not 8 years old. But I don't know. I'm not a screenwriter. I'm not a movie editor. I don't know what they do with that extra 30 minutes. Maybe give some more character moments, slow things down a little bit. But the reason I think that there's some last minute rewrites is the story, the character moments. Toad. You see Toad in the trailer, and he's like, oh, come on, Mario, I'm taking you to the princess's castle. I figured Toad would have been sent to retrieve Mario and take him to Princess Peach, but Toad here is just like some kind of hobo that just shows up and inexplicably knows where Mario is when he comes out of the pipe and just knows to take him to Princess Peach. Because Peach doesn't even know who Toad is. She meets him for the first time when they're like leaving to go on their adventure, and like none of the other Toads in the castle know him. Maybe there was some script rewriting. Like how the Luma in Bowser's Castle is just kind of there. Like you'd expect there to be some kind of Mario Galaxy tie-in at the end, but that just doesn't happen. The Luma is just kind of there. Again, that's fine. There doesn't always have to be tie-ins to every single little thing, but it really makes me wonder, what was the point of having him there other than marketing? The end credits scene, which I thought wasn't really worth sitting and waiting for, It was a scene underneath Brooklyn, and there's like a Yoshi egg that hatches. That's like the scene from Godzilla. That's like the post-credit scene from Godzilla 1998. Is that what the next movie's going to be about? Recycled Yoshi clips from 2007? It's just going to be a long, hour-long reenactment of the Mama Luigi episode in the Mario World cartoon? I mean, honestly, I'd be kind of down if the next few movies were essentially just retellings of the games. It'd be kind of nice to see the Koopalings show up. There was a scene where Bowser's playing the piano, and the piano was called Ludwig von Koopa piano. I don't know what the implications of that are. The Koopalings weren't in the movie. Thankfully, Christian Shaw Bowser Jr. did not appear in this movie, so now we just have to wait in fear to see if that actually happens in the sequel. Pikmin Bros, I'm very sad to report that there was not a new Pikmin short movie that played before the actual movie, all of the Pixar shorts. There's no Pikmin content at all, sadly. But according to Hale Show on Twitter, there was, in fact, a blink and you miss it Pikmin reference in the rich couple's apartment at the very beginning. So Pikmin fans, we're finally winning! We're finally back! But yeah, that's what I thought of the Mario movie. It was pretty good. And if you really want someone to go through with a magnifying glass and point out every single reference and Easter egg, I'm sure that video will come out in the future. All I can say now is that while I was overly excited for the Sonic movies, they better get that music shit sorted out, because the amount of video game music in here was so natural sounding that it was kind of laughable that this isn't the standard. The executives at Paramount watching the Mario movie and seeing that people actually want video game music in their video game movie, they're in a lot of trouble. Oh, and also the gorgeous animation in this movie makes me a little envious that us Sonic fans are stuck with live-action CGI. But considering that Nintendo is literally the richest company in all of Japan, they can get away with visuals this good. So yeah, go watch the movie and wait 2 years for when they announce the sequel. This movie was so good, it actually made me resurrect my dead channel back from the dead just to give you my thoughts on it so I can go die again. It's really that good. If you actually want to see where I'm active now, I'm mostly putting my focus on these other channels right here. This one is pretty much dead in the water thanks to YouTube meddling. So for the 5 of you that are watching this, you know where to find me. Or hey, maybe this relevant video topic will be blessed by the algorithm and this video will have 100,000 views in an hour. So go subscribe to my other channels and support me on Patreon. Thank you to that guy. See you later.